So I had originally planned to do a live reaction video to Season 6, Episode 10 of Pretty Little Liars, also known as the summer finale that just happened this past Tuesday, August 10th, August 11th, but I was looking over the footage and it was kind of pointless because it was kind of boring, my reactions weren't that great, and you would know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. The episode was rather interesting, shall I say, and I will get into detail about that. So instead, this video is going to be my thoughts on Season 6, Episode 10 of Pretty Little Liars, the summer finale, so let's just get into it. I have a lot to say. So I just want to quickly get into my thoughts as I was watching this episode quickly, and then I'll explain why and everything else and the reason why I didn't like it. So this is going to be probably a rant video. I do have like what I want to say on paper so I don't go, you know, completely on a half an hour rant and it's completely unorganized. I'm gonna try and keep it somewhat organized. Just gonna say right now, I did not like the episode, as I'm sure you've heard many people say that. I feel like Facebook and Twitter, people like loved the episode, and then you go to Tumblr and people are just pissed. So I'm gonna go over kind of my thoughts as I was watching this episode, and then I'll kind of elaborate further on like all the rest of it. So okay, so as I was watching the episode, I felt like it felt rushed, it felt half-assed, it literally felt like it was planned in a day, and it just, I don't know, it didn't feel real. As I was watching it, I was watching it and I was like, what is even happening? Like, I don't even care, like, what is going on? It's just, it felt half-assed and rushed, pretty much. So I'm just going to get into my thoughts on Cece being Charles and A for a sec, because I have a lot to say about that. The issue I have with that is not the fact that they chose Cece to be A, or the fact that they decided to put in a transgender storyline. That's completely fine. However, the way they went about it was just disrespectful, I guess, to fans. It wasn't right, and I'll explain that right now. One of the directors, I think it was on Twitter or an interview, I'm not sure, I forget now, but I do remember this one director saying that, and they flat out told us that they weren't gonna do the transgender storyline because at one point that was a really big theory and whatever, and people kept asking, and they said, no, that's too far out for us, we're not going to do that. So they put that to rest, so no one was thinking that anymore. And my problem isn't a transgender storyline at all, like, that's completely fine. It's the fact that they flat out lied to us. Like, that's what happened. Cece is Charles. So that was my problem. The thing is, like, I understand you want it to be a surprise, and these people guessed your storyline before, I think it was pretty much before Season 6 even started, but you don't lie, like, enough with the lies. This has happened so many times, but for this just kind of pissed me off. Like, you don't do that. That's the thing, you don't do that. If you don't want them guessing before Season 6 has even started, then don't respond. There's a thing, like, you don't have to respond. It's Twitter, you don't have to respond to them. Just ignore it then. Like, don't flat out lie. I hate that. Like, people spend so much time sometimes on like Tumblr making up theories, so like to shut one down and mislead your followers and your fans is so wrong. Like, it's just, I can't even believe that happened. Like, you don't lie. I'm so sick of it. It's happened before and people were getting upset and I was like, whatever, like, that's what the show is. But this I understand now. Like, I completely understand. It's so wrong. Like, just ignore your fans, and if you get questions like that, like, you can ignore them. Stop lying. Just ignore it. Also, I feel like with Cece being Charles or A, it wasn't a shock in a good way. We were like bombarded with it because they legit told us that they weren't gonna go down that path, and I think they thought that it would make a good reaction for fans because at one point I think they kind of thought that that was going to happen and it would be a cool storyline, but the thing is they flat out told us that it wasn't going to happen, and I think that's where they got the negativity from fans. It's not that there's a transgender storyline, that's not the reason at all, that's fine, but the way they went about it was wrong. Like, I think to lie, especially on Twitter when you can ignore something, is so wrong. Like, it's so unnecessary. I don't agree with that at all. It's completely avoidable, completely unnecessary. I don't know why they do that. Now, one thing I really want to discuss, but I want to keep it brief because I'm sure you all know this now, it is completely noticeable, are the freaking plot holes. And I really don't want to personally attack. However, I feel like this really needs to be addressed because it pissed a lot of people off. So one of the directors said something along the lines of, on Twitter by the way, something along the lines of, you know, there's plot holes in every show and inconsistencies. Yes, completely, like that, obviously. However, Pretty Little Liars is a mystery crime TV show. Yes, it's a teen drama as well. However, the main thing, and it has been since the beginning, was a mystery crime show, and they made it into that. Since the very beginning, they've told us to pay attention to detail. So a mystery show, regardless of it being aimed at a teen audience, needs to at least try to be consistent and at least try to make everything add up and make sense. Which, judging by this episode, clearly they were not even trying. Like, they do not care, and I think that's wrong. It's the worst thing in the world when you have waited for something for so long, like 5 years, literally 5 years, and it turns out to be shit and you're left feeling let down, disappointed, and like almost betrayed. I know it sounds extreme, like I'm kind of over-exaggerating. I just don't really know how else to explain it, really. Like, the feeling is just awful. Like, you know, you support the show, you love the show from the very beginning, you spend your time thinking of different theories, and it all goes to waste, literally, because clearly they just don't care, apparently, about plot holes and inconsistencies and, you know, details, which they've said from the very beginning that those are important. So I don't understand that. It is completely wrong. Like, my thing is, I feel like I trusted the writers enough to be like, yeah, in the end it's all gonna make sense, it's all good, you know, like it's gonna be good. But it wasn't, and that really, like, that made me feel like awful, like it did, because I honestly trusted them, you know. With me, I trusted them because I thought that they were good enough writers, and I think that they are. It's just, I don't know, for some reason they're getting lazy or something. I don't know what it is. With me, I really liked the show and the writers in particular because they added different classic film references, classic novel references, and I loved that. I loved that. And I thought that, you know, for a group of writers and directors who apparently love Alfred Hitchcock movies so much and really look up to and inspire from those times, they clearly didn't learn anything from Alfred Hitchcock or his movies at all, because he's all about suspense, detail, things adding up, things making sense, everything, all of that. And they clearly, like, for someone who loves Alfred Hitchcock movies so much, they didn't learn anything. Like, they've had Psycho references, they have Rear Window Brew, like, so clearly they've seen them, so I don't understand how you can put out such a bad episode. And I understand that it's a mid-season finale, but like, that was awful. And they built it up to be something that's gonna be huge, and there was gonna be a lot of detail, and it was, you know, more about the why and the how rather than the who, yet I did not get that at all from watching that episode. So I've seen some theories that say Cece being A might be a lie to protect Uber A or whatever, and I'd like to believe that. I really would. That would be awesome. But the reason why I'm not jumping on that bandwagon so quickly and thinking of more theories is because, again, like, it's the trust thing. I don't trust them anymore. I don't trust that they're gonna make this amazing and it's all gonna be, you know, it's all gonna add up. Like, there's something in me that just does not trust that anymore, so I'm scared and I've given up. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up again. I used to theorize away, and now apparently detail doesn't matter, and I just don't even care. Again, with the Cece might be lying about being A, like, I would love that to be real. Trust me, I would love that. I think she's fine with Charles, but I think Charles and A should be different. I just don't see how she could be both, and I'll explain later on. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but like, I'd love to believe that Cece is lying. However, when you look at the directors and the writers' tweets and their interviews and whatever and what they're saying, they seem really confident in their choices about this episode, and that scares me. They seem like they don't care, and they're doing what they're doing, and it's not going to change, and they're really, really confident in what they are putting out there. So I'm kind of scared. So now I don't know. I don't think it would. I'd hope. I really do hope, but the thing is, I don't trust them. So I don't know, and I don't want to waste my time theorizing on different clues and details and watching the seasons over again to look for more clues, because clearly from what we saw in that episode, none of that matters, because there were so many plot holes, so many inconsistencies, so many details lost and missed, and it was just awful. So I don't even know anymore. Like, I'd love to believe that Cece being A is a lie, but they seem pretty confident in their work, so I really have no idea, and I'm not gonna waste time thinking about that. I'm just gonna see how it goes. So they should have just made Cece Charles, if that's the route they really wanted to go down, is having a transgender character. If that was really important to them, then that's fine, but just have her as Charles, and have Charles and A completely different storyline. I think their biggest mistake, and I think a lot of fans will agree with me on this, is making Cece both Charles and A. I just never saw her with the potential to be A, someone who's like really smart and has all this knowledge about technology and everything, literally everything. I saw her more as Redcoat than anything else. So I think to have her as both Charles and A, it just didn't really work, especially with the story. Like, they were trying to explain Charles's story, or Charlotte's story, Cece's story, whoever. They were trying to explain her story, but then they were also trying to explain how she did it as A, and it didn't really work. It was that, I think that's what made it rushed. There was too much to tell in the time slot that they had, and it just did not work at all. So I'm gonna go over a few of the things that I honestly, in my opinion, thought were major cop-outs in the episode. There are a few, plenty, there were a lot. There were a lot of things in this episode that I thought were major cop-outs for the show. Things that we have been waiting for, you know, answers for seasons, and it was underwhelming. So these aren't in really any particular order. I'm just gonna go through. The first one on the list is, and I honestly think this one pissed me off the most, which is kind of weird because you think the others would more, but this one I was like, are you freaking kidding me? No, this is bullshit. Like, this is bullshit. This is when you know they literally made the story up on the spot and filmed it the next day. Like, literally. Okay, so that the red coat that we saw back in the season 2 finale ending where Mona was in Radley, that it turned out to be Cece in a red robe visiting Mona. Oh my freaking goodness, no. Major freaking cop-out in my opinion, because back in season 2, in the finale, at the ending, we clearly saw a red coat. It was red coat. It was a coat. It was not a robe, it was a coat. And for them to change it like that is just a major cop-out in my opinion. They did say, I think Marlene said on Twitter that scenes can be impaired from characters' point of view, but I personally do not think that, I personally think that that was a cop-out. That's major bullshit to me. Like, we saw a red coat. Like, clearly it was a coat. And we did not actually see it through Mona's eyes, we saw it from the back. So, no, Marlene, the scene was not impaired. That particular scene was not impaired. We literally did not see it through Mona's eyes, and you can't even make that bullshit excuse. Like, really, you can't. That's just the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, moving on, because I've spent way too much time on this one point. Another major cop-out for the show, for this episode, and I think we can probably all agree the biggest one, was that they made Sarah Harvey both red coat and black veil Black Widow. What the hell? Like, excuse me, that made no sense at all, and I really don't care if you're going to be elaborating on that in 6B, because, like, I just, no, it's never gonna make sense, ever. I don't care how you spin the story, it's just no. No. Didn't they make such a big point to point out that Black Veil is now called, or was called, Black Widow? Like, excuse me, Sarah isn't a widow. The legit widow on the show is Melissa. Why couldn't it have been Melissa? Also, what really disappointed me was that the girls had to freaking find out who A was, who's been tormenting these girls literally before Allie even came back, literally since day one. They had to find out who it was through a freaking unrealistic holographic screen. Are you kidding me? I think that's such a cop-out. Like, that's so unfair. I think that was the point that made me feel like they really half-assed the show. Like, I feel like they didn't know what to do with the girls because it was supposed to be about Allison, and they didn't know what to do with the girls, so they just stuck them in a room with a screen. Excuse me, that is insulting. I think that part of the episode was the worst of all. Like, if they had it where the girls found out who it was, it would have been at least a bit more tolerable. They are the ones who deserve to find out who A is and catch him, not Allison. Allison hasn't been around since season 1 like the other girls. Like, it's so disrespectful. Huge cop-out in my opinion. Don't even get me started on that stupid screen. Aren't they supposed to be in 2012? Like, no, that is so unrealistic. Just get out of here. No, you're not a Marvel TV show. This can't happen. The way they constructed this episode just did not fit with Pretty Little Liars whatsoever. I hate the way they did it with the girls in the room watching what Cece had to say. Just watching on a screen, on a freaking screen. Unacceptable. Now, some may probably not agree, but this is just my opinion. I also think that the time jump is risky and a big mistake. They should have them in university, or just, you know, just getting out of university, not already married. Like, what the frick? It's not realistic at all. Like, it's so unrealistic, it's not even funny. Like, a time jump for a few years is fine, but not 5. It's just unrealistic, and I honestly think it's not going to be even relatable anymore. I also think that the writers, directors thought that what we wanted was just to be shocked, and that's it, and that all we cared about was the who, when actually that's not true at all. That could be farther from the truth, especially since they stressed so much before that you know, the who doesn't matter as much as the why and the how, and they were really going to show that in great detail in the episode, which obviously they clearly didn't. If you've seen the episode and you've heard my rant, like, they clearly did not. That's not what happened at all. What I got from the episode was them focusing more on the who rather than the why and the how, because I really think that they half-assed that. Like, it was just, I can't even talk anymore. Okay, so my overall thoughts, it felt rushed. They did a half-assed job. It literally felt put together in one day. It probably was, I wouldn't be surprised. And it felt unreal. Just something about it, and I think it was because of the unrealistic holographic screen. I felt this during the episode, but I felt this at the end as well, is that I just didn't care anymore by the end of it. What was supposed to be a bittersweet ending, you know, with the girls already packed up, ready to go off to university, saying goodbye to each other, it's pretty bad that I felt absolutely nothing. I didn't cry, I didn't feel emotions, like I literally felt nothing. And I wish that didn't happen, but I think it's because of the episode, how it just was a mess. It was a flop and it was just awful. Like, it was awful. I think that moment where they were saying goodbye would have been such a beautiful moment if it wasn't ruined with what happened, you know, earlier in the episode. So honestly, I wish they would just admit that they did an extremely sloppy job and that it was just not their best, instead of trying to be so proud of it, which clearly people have said and they've expressed that it really isn't their best, and I think they know that. They have proved to us that they have made amazing episodes, so why couldn't you do it with this one? I don't understand, especially since it was a summer finale. I wouldn't have made this such a big deal, and I don't think people would have made this such a big deal if it happened a few seasons ago. But because you're coming so close to the end of this, has been a never-ending journey, and you promised that this was going to be a massive chapter, a big part of everything unraveling, and you made it so crappy and half-assed, that's why people are mad. That's why people are upset. I'd like to think this was all done for a good reason and that they're gonna make it better. I would really, really like to believe that. However, because of this episode, I just don't trust them anymore, and I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I'm not gonna make, you know, I'm not gonna spend my time or waste my time making theories, because it's all gonna go to waste, because they're just gonna do what they want in the end anyway, and it doesn't matter about detail, it doesn't matter about coincidences. They're just gonna do what they want anyways, regardless of it making sense, so I'm just done. Like, I probably will watch it when it comes on again, just to see how, you know, things are. So before I go, I just wanted to share with you my ideal alternative endings. So I would have liked to see Ren as Big A, Arya could be Uber A, that would be perfect, Cece as Red Coat, and Melissa as Black Widow, Black Veil. So that would have been perfect, honestly. It honestly would have made so much more sense. I feel like with Pretty Little Liars, they're digging themselves into a deeper hole, which is kind of ironic because of the, yeah, okay, anyway. And they are going in circles that are so avoidable and unnecessary. Like, it's completely avoidable. You did not have to do that. You're just making it more confusing. Oh, that's another point why I think that I'm scared of the fact that Cece may not be lying. Like, I don't know. That theory is good. I like it. I'd love to believe it. But then also, like, it's just gonna make it more confusing, and I don't really even know what they're doing with the show anymore. I'm really confused. They had the potential, and I think this is my final words. They had the potential. They had so much opportunity to do such a great job with the show, with the episode, and they just didn't. I don't understand. You had so much. There's so many things you could have done, and you literally half-assed it, and it looked so sloppy, and it looked awful, and it was just a mess. I don't understand. I just don't get it. So anyway, I think that's all I have to say. I went on a bit of a rant. I tried to structure it a bit, so I'm hoping that it's not too confusing. I probably am missing a few points. I probably could have said things better, but that is just what happens when you have a lot of passion for things. So let me know what you thought about the episode. I'm curious to see if any of you actually liked it, and yeah, definitely feel free to make a little discussion thing in the comments. I will definitely be replying to you. So that'll be it. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and give it a big thumbs up if you liked it. I make videos every single week actually, so definitely stay tuned for more, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Can you keep it? Swear this one you'll save. Better lie.